Introduction. The world is a resonance box. We live in a universe governed by precise mechanical laws, but we insist on interpreting it as if it were a moral drama. When someone treats us badly, we think, "What a bad person." When we enter a place and feel exhausted, we think, "What bad luck." It is a cycle of blame. When our projects systematically stall despite our effort, we think, "The world is unfair." We behave like children who hit the table because they bumped their finger, blaming the inert object for the pain we feel. But the universe is not moral. It is not just or unjust. The universe is acoustic. This book begins with a proposition that may be hard to swallow at first, because it dismantles the very base of your victim identity. The outside world has no voice of its own. The outside world is only a resonance box. Imagine you are inside an immense empty cathedral. It is a space designed to amplify sound. If you shout hate, the stone walls, the vaults, and the air will return a multiplied roar. Hate, hate, hate. You are hearing the return of your own emission. If you whisper love, the space will wrap you in a soft blanket of love, love, love. In that cathedral, it would be absurd to get angry with the walls for shouting at you. It would be a serious psychiatric diagnosis to believe the stones have something personal against you. You know, by pure elementary physics, that what you hear is the return of your own signal. However, in daily life, we forget this physics. We walk through the world believing we are passive observers of an objective reality that is already out there happening on its own. We believe that the hostility of our boss, the coldness of our partner, or the chaos of our city are events independent of us. They are not. You are a living tuning fork. Your nervous system, your heart, and your brain are constantly vibrating at a specific frequency. That vibration does not stay inside your skin. It leaves you in invisible but powerful spherical waves. It hits matter. It hits the nervous systems of other people. It hits the atmosphere of places. And it activates sympathetic vibration. The law of resonance is relentless. A frequency can only activate an equal frequency. If you have a piano in a room and you play a loud C note, and there is a guitar in the corner, the C string of the guitar will start to vibrate by itself. The other strings stay still. Only what is equal resonates. Applied to your life, this is both devastating and liberating. If you are surrounded by angry people, it is because you have a string of anger, repressed or expressed, tense inside you that is activating the anger in them. If you constantly attract people who betray you, it is because the frequency of fear of betrayal is sounding so loud on your station that it wakes the sleeping traitor in anyone who approaches you. You are playing the note. They are just the strings vibrating. Most books on relationships and social success teach you to manipulate the exterior. They teach body language tricks or persuasion techniques. Those approaches are cosmetic. They try to modify the echo without changing the voice. This is a manual of environmental acoustic engineering. We are not going to try to change the people around you. That is impossible and exhausting. We are going to change the excitation signal that you emit. Have you ever met someone who, simply by entering a room, calms the environment? Their presence acts as a balm. Conflicts dissolve. People feel safe. Children and animals approach them. We say that person has a good vibe or charisma, but what they have is superior field physics. They have a resonance so tuned and stable that they force the environment to synchronize. This process is called entrainment. That person is a master tuning fork. Their note is so pure that it tunes the out-of-tune instruments around them. You can be that person. In fact, you are designed to be. But right now, you are probably a fork generating noise. You are trapped in negative feedback loops. You feel bad. You emit victim frequency. The world attacks you. You feel worse. You emit more victim frequency. To break this cycle, you have to stop looking outside. Stop trying to fix your partner or defeat your enemies. Understand this. Toxicity does not exist in a vacuum. Toxicity requires a receiver. If someone throws emotional poison at you and you have no open wound, no resonant frequency of offense or insecurity, the poison passes through you as if you were transparent. It does not stick. It does not affect you. Only what resonates with you hurts you. Therefore, every conflict in your life is not a problem to be solved, but diagnostic information. Your enemy is your best sound technician. They tell you which frequency is poorly equalized. Get ready to stop being a victim of the noise. The world is a chaotic orchestra waiting for a conductor, and the conductor does not use words. He uses a silent baton. That baton is your own state of being. Chapter 1: The Law of Sympathetic Vibration. To begin our exploration of social acoustics, we must move mentally to a music room. Imagine two grand pianos in the center, tuned exactly the same. They are placed a couple of meters apart. You sit at the first piano and strike the middle C key with force. The sound fills the room. Now the phenomenon that explains your entire social life occurs. If you approach the second piano, the one no one has touched, and listen closely to its strings, you will find something unsettling. The middle C string of the second piano is vibrating. It is sounding. No finger touched its key. However, the invisible sound wave from the first piano hit the second. That wave carried a specific frequency, 261 Hz. Upon hitting the second piano, the wave sought its equal. It ignored D, E, and F, but when it found C, it transferred its energy. It woke it up. This phenomenon is called sympathetic resonance. It is a universal law. A frequency emitted by an active source will always activate an identical frequency in a passive source, provided that the passive source has the capacity to vibrate at that note. Now leave the music room and enter your office or your home. You are the first piano. The people around you are the second piano. The tragedy of your life is that you spend the day playing the fear or guilt key, and then you are surprised when people around you vibrate in attack. You look at the other person and say, "Why are you yelling? I haven't done anything to you." It is true, you have done nothing with your hands or mouth, but acoustically, you have been hitting the fear key with a hydraulic hammer, and the beast inside the other person has heard the call. The lie of the innocent victim. This is the hardest point to accept, but it is the threshold of your liberation. In an acoustic universe, there are no innocent victims, there are only unconscious emitters. This sounds harsh. Your ego rebels. Are you saying it's my fault my boss humiliates me? I am not talking about guilt, a moral concept. I am talking about physical responsibility, a mechanical concept. If you walk into the street with a neon sign that says, "Predator wanted," and one attacks you, they are responsible for their action, but you are responsible for the signal. The problem is the neon sign is invisible to your eyes, but deafening to the subconscious of others. Analyze the physics of fear. Fear is not passive. It is a high-frequency, short-wavelength signal. When you fear rejection, you are transmitting the frequency of rejection. You are sending a continuous wave that says, "I have a rejection wound here, it is pulsing. Please, someone confirm my reality." You enter a meeting vibrating in fear of rejection. Out of 20 people, 19 are healthy and neutral. They have no rejector string active. Your wave hits them and dies. But there is one person in the corner, a narcissist or someone with a power trauma. That person has the predator string tightly tuned. Your wave of fear crosses the room and hits their solar plexus directly. Cling. Their string vibrates. They feel a magnetic attraction to you. They don't know why. They simply smell the opportunity. They approach you and make a sarcastic comment. You shrink, confirming the signal. They attack harder. You think, "I always get the crazy one." It is not luck, it is precision engineering. Your fear was the laser guidance. Why the good suffer most? We often see wonderful, kind people who suffer constant abuse. We say, "The world is cruel to the good." False. The world is cruel to the resonant. A good person is often someone who has repressed their shadow, their anger or healthy selfishness. By repressing these emotions, they don't eliminate them. They store them in the basement. A repressed, tense string vibrates with more potential force than a loose one. What you deny submits you. If you repress aggression, it accumulates in your field as static energy. You become a pressure cooker of unexpressed aggression. That pressure emits a signal. I need to release this. Since you don't allow yourself to release it by setting a limit, you outsource the job. You need an external actor to play the part you refuse to star in. You attract an aggressive person so you can experience the vibration you had repressed. It's a twisted soul pact. I don't dare be the bad guy, so I hire you to do it for me. This explains why, when the victim heals and integrates their own strength, the aggressor disappears. The aggressor tries to play the usual key, but the string is loose. There is no resonance, no emotional juice to extract. The vampire doesn't bite plastic necks, it only bites where there is a pulse. If you deactivate your fear pulse, you become invisible to the predator. The damping protocol and the new tuning. If we are tuning forks attracting what we fear, how do we change our note? Most people try to change their note through the mask. They try to look confident. But acoustics do not lie. You can paint a tuning fork gold, but its structure will still sound in a minor. Animals know this. A dog knows if you are afraid even if you smile. To change your attraction, you must change your internal structure. You must apply the damping protocol. In a piano, a felt damper falls on the string and stops the vibration. The sound dies. You need to install dampers on your trauma strings. You need it so that when the world hits the injustice key, your internal victim string is so well damped that it barely emits a dull thud and dies instantly instead of resonating for days. Step 1. Detection of the hum, background noise. The first step is the audit. You must discover your base emission frequency. This isn't what you think. It's the hum of your nervous system. How do you feel when you are alone and drop your guard? Is there a slight anxiety? A feeling of not being enough? That is your bass note. If it is lack, you attract loss. To detect this, use your current enemies as scanners. List the situations that stress you. Find the emotional common denominator. If they all make you feel impotence, that is your string. You vibrate in impotence and you have hired actors to play that melody for you in stereo surround. The boss and the neighbor don't know each other, but they are acoustically coordinated by your signal. Step 2. Withdrawal of the signal. Once the string is identified, the instinct is to defeat the actors. That is useless. It is shouting at the echo. The solution is withdrawal. You must process the emotion of impotence inside you without using the external event as an excuse. Sit with that impotence. Call it old energy trapped in my system. By assuming total ownership of the vibration, you take away its projection power. You stop emitting it outward. This is vibrational alchemy. Every minute you feel your shadow consciously, you are damping the string. Step 3. The new carrier frequency. Now tune the string to a new note. Emptiness is not enough. If your old note was fear, your new note must be sovereignty. The frequency of one who knows their value is intrinsic. You install this through coherent action. Next time the fear situation arises, do something micro-different. Breathe deep. Maintain eye contact a second longer. You are testing the new instrument. As you emit this new physical signal, the other will change. The attack will fail because there is no resonance. The paradox of losing relationships. I must warn you, when you change your tuning, you will lose people. It is mathematical. If you were united by shared complaining and you change to responsibility, the harmony breaks. The sound you produce together will screech. They will try to pull you back down. You will feel their frequency suffocates you. If you cannot pull them to your new frequency, the relationship will break. Do not cry over this. It is acoustic hygiene. Let them go. By clearing that space, you will attract allies. The ultimate protection, transparency. The goal is not to build walls. Walls vibrate. If you build a defense wall, you vibrate in fear of attack. The goal is transparency, to be like air. When an arrow is fired into the air doesn't defend itself. It stays intact. When you have no tense strings of trauma, you become transparent to others' drama. Someone can insult you and you feel nothing, no anger, no fear, only curiosity. You have become a non-conductor of toxicity. This is true invulnerability, not being stone, but being space. Your environment is your mirror, but it's a mirror with a delay. What you see today is the echo of the music you played yesterday. Do not be frustrated if the world doesn't change instantly. The echo takes time to die. But if you sustain the new note of sovereignty, matter will begin to reorganize. Aggressors will be repelled by your light. Opportunities will be attracted by your magnetism. One day, you will wake up and realize the music outside is identical to the music inside. You will have achieved acoustic coherence. Chapter 2. Entrainment. In 1665, the Dutch physicist Christian Huygens made an accidental discovery while observing two pendulum clocks hanging on the same wall. Initially, they moved out of sync. However, after some time, he noticed something impossible. The pendulums had begun to move in perfect synchrony. No matter how much he tried to disrupt them, the clocks eventually synchronized again. The wall connecting them transmitted imperceptible micro-vibrations that forced the clocks to adjust to a common rhythm. Huygens had discovered the principle of entrainment. It is a fundamental law of physics. When two oscillating systems interact, the system with greater amplitude and stability will drag the weaker or more unstable system toward its own frequency. Nature is lazy. It always seeks the state of minimum energy and maximum efficiency. Chaos consumes a lot of energy. Dissonance creates friction and waste. Synchrony, on the other hand, is economical. This is why fireflies flash in unison, why women living together synchronize menstrual cycles, and why a school of fish moves as a single coordinated organism. You are a pendulum clock. Your heart, your breath, and your brainwaves are all oscillating at specific frequencies. When you meet another person, two oscillatory fields collide. One will act as the dominant oscillator, and the other will be the entrained oscillator. We must redefine leadership and charisma. The leader is not the one who speaks the loudest or holds the highest rank. The leader is simply the most stable person in the room. Leadership is a matter of coherence, alignment of heart and mind, and amplitude, energy volume. Imagine a chaotic meeting filled with fear. A real leader enters with deep rhythmic breathing and a stable gaze. Physically, the nervous systems of everyone else detect this dominant oscillator. By the law of energy efficiency, their hearts slow down to match the leader's calm. Most sensitive people understand empathy backwards. They believe being empathetic means lowering their frequency to match someone who is suffering. If your friend is sad, you get sad to connect. This is reverse entrainment. You are being led by weakness. True vibrational leadership and true compassion consists of not dropping. It is maintaining your high, stable note to offer others a vibrational ladder. You stay at the edge of the pit, strong, holding the rope. Your stability is the greatest gift you can offer. Why do some people have presence while others are invisible? It has to do with energetic mass. In physics, a massive object like the sun curves space-time and forces planets to orbit it. In social acoustics, a person with great internal certainty curves the environment. Energetic mass is earned through the accumulation of silence and the retention of reaction. Every time you feel the urge to react mechanically but contain yourself, you increase your mass. The invisible people have energy leaks. They seek validation and justify themselves constantly. The leader is a planet. He has his own atmosphere and does not ask permission to occupy space. Leadership is not something you do, it is something you are. But how do you achieve this when chaos surrounds you? In the next part, we will look at the technique of anchoring, the metronome effect and the anchor technique. Most people enter a room in sensor mode, scanning to see what others think of them. This puts you in the position of a passive oscillator. To lead acoustically, you must enter in emitter mode, metronome. You don't enter to check the temperature, you enter to set the thermostat. The human metronome technique. A metronome offers the clearest pattern for a brain to rest. You are that metronome through your base biological rhythm. The first step is the respiratory anchor, hacking the vagus nerve. Your breath is your most contagious rhythm. In a tense situation, force your breathing to be slower than everyone else's. An ideal rhythm is 5-5, inhale 5 seconds, exhale 5 seconds. This sends a signal to your brain and others' brains. It is safe to relax. You have entrained them to calm without saying a single word. The second step is the posture of gravity. The weak oscillator contracts. The strong oscillator expands. Relax your shoulders and expose your chest. This sends a subconscious message. I am so strong that I don't need to protect myself. This is the signal of high voltage. The third step is tactical silence. The acoustic leader is in no rush to fill silences. The weak oscillator gets nervous and babbles to relieve tension. The strong oscillator holds the silence and waits. Whoever controls the silence controls the conversation and the gravity of the room. In an aggressive discussion, don't shout back. Become a statue of calm. Breathe slowly. Lower your voice 2 octaves and speak slower than usual. The aggressor will run out of energy because their brain cannot maintain anger without feedback. They will eventually drop their tone. Taking vibrational leadership is not selfish, it is a public service. People are desperate for order and exhausted by their own mental chaos. When you offer a frequency of certainty and direction, people feel relieved. You are giving them firm ground to stand on. Hitler and cult leaders were masters of dark entrainment, but assuming your intention is to elevate, you use this to drag people toward their best version. You entrain them toward confidence, peace, and creativity, acting as a generator for their potential. When you practice this, your physical environment changes permanently. Your home gains a different atmosphere. Your children or employees become calmer. You become a field generator. You no longer go to places. You are the place. You bring the sun in your chest. Chapter 3. The Acoustic Mirror. Every sound engineer or professional musician knows the phenomenon of source deafness. If you are a singer on a large stage with giant amplifiers projecting your voice toward the audience, paradoxically, you are the person who hears yourself the worst. The sound leaves your mouth, travels forward and gets lost in the distance. You only hear the internal vibration of your skull and the confusing bounce from the stadium walls. Without an external reference, you go out of tune, you scream, you lose the tempo. You think you sound great, but you're ruining the song. To solve this, engineers invented the stage monitor. It is a speaker on the floor facing the singer, not the audience. Its only function is to return the singer's own voice in real time, raw and unfiltered. It allows the singer to adjust. I'm a bit low, let me go up. The monitor does not judge or attack. It simply tells the acoustic truth of what is being emitted. Welcome to your stage, life. You are the singer. Your life is the concert. And here is the revelation. The people around you are not the audience. They are your monitors. Especially those who irritate you. Especially those who drive you crazy or ignore you. These people are high-fidelity speakers, strategically placed by universal intelligence to return the signal you cannot hear because you are too busy emitting it. The human ego has a massive blind spot. We cannot see our own face, we need a mirror. And we cannot hear our own vibration, we need another. We think we are patient, but the universe says, "Oh yeah, let's test that signal." It puts a slow, clumsy co-worker in front of you. You feel volcanic rage. Your ego says he is the problem. Acoustics says error. That person is a neutral monitor, returning your own signal of latent intolerance. If you were truly patient, his slowness wouldn't activate you. If it burns you, there is flammable material inside you. In sound, when you bring the microphone too close to the speaker, a painful high-pitched screech occurs. This is feedback. It happens because the sound enters, leaves, and re-enters in an infinite loop that saturates the system. In your relationships, emotional pain is exactly that screech. It occurs when you get too close to someone reflecting your shadow, and instead of correcting your frequency, you insist on projecting more of the same. Imagine you feel deep down that you are stupid, but you cover it with intellectual arrogance. You meet someone who corrects a fact in public. High-pitched screech, pain, shame, rage. That pain wasn't caused by the other person, they were just the reflective surface. The pain is the sound of your own insecurity returning to you at high speed. Most people try to break the speaker. They attack the person who corrected them. They eliminate the messenger. What happens then? The universe, a very persistent sound engineer, simply brings a new speaker. You change partners or jobs, and 3 months later, you hear the same screech, different face, same sound, because the source of the sound is you. Carl Jung called it the shadow. Physics calls it wave reflection. The principle is you don't see the world as it is, you see it as you are. Your reticular system, the attention filter, only lets through what confirms your current vibratory state. If you vibrate in distrust, your brain will overlook a new person's kind smile and focus with laser precision on the fact that they checked their watch once. See, your brain says, they don't care. They aren't trustworthy. You have projected your movie onto a white screen. This leads to a haunting conclusion. You have never truly met anyone. You have always interacted with the version of them that your frequency allowed you to decode. You have interacted with your own echoes bouncing off their bodies. This explains why the same person is an angel to one and a demon to another. There is a technical complication: latency, delay. In a bathroom mirror, the reflection is instant. In the acoustic mirror of reality, matter is dense and slow. The reality you live today with your partner is often the reflection of the vibration you emitted 6 months ago. You may have changed today, but your partner still treats you with coldness. The novice says, "This doesn't work." The engineer says, "Patience. You are seeing the light of a dead star." If you hold the new note long enough, the mirror must update. The inertia will be overcome. The 3 mirrors and the calibration technique. If we accept that others are data, how do we read them? Not all conflicts mean the same thing. To be a master of acoustics, you must identify which type of mirror you are standing before. We classify these monitors into 3 main categories. Mirror 1, the shadow mirror, what you are and deny. This is the most common. It occurs when someone irritates you by a trait you consider bad and swear you don't have. Example, you hate selfish people. You tell yourself, "I am generous, I always listen. I am not like them." Acoustic analysis. If you were truly integrated, others' selfishness wouldn't activate you. If it screeches, you have a repressed selfish person in the basement. You are likely neglecting yourself, and your shadow envies the other's freedom to be what you forbid yourself to be. Mirror 2, the judgment mirror, the broken rule. This reflects your mental dogmas. It occurs when someone breaks a rule you consider sacred. Example, you are a Swiss watch, and unpunctual people deeply offend you. Analysis. The resonance isn't "I want to be late." It is "I suffer from my own rigidity." Your nervous system is tense from the superhuman effort to be perfect. When someone is late and laughs, your system is offended. The mirror is saying, "Your rigidity is killing you. Loosen the string." Don't buy the other a watch, buy yourself a rest. Break your own rule. Mirror 3, the loss mirror, what was or could have been. This manifests as sadness or painful admiration. It occurs when you see someone who has what you lost or what you never dared to seek. Example, you see a passionate young couple or a musician on stage and feel a sting. Analysis. The monitor returns the frequency of your unrealized potential. It's not toxic envy, it's future nostalgia. Your soul is saying, "That music is also in you. Why aren't you playing it?" Use envy as a treasure map. It marks exactly where your desire is buried. The calibration pause technique. When the monitor screeches, apply this. 1. Veto the reflection. Feel the hit, rage, or pain, but stop. Don't react outward. Say, "This is an audio return." 2. The engineer's question. Turn the focus 180 degrees. Ask, "What is sounding in me that makes this hurt?" 3. The micro-correction. Once you detect the frequency, e.g., "I feel ignored," correct it in real time. Give yourself what you're asking the mirror for. Breathe. Validate yourself. "I see myself." By validating yourself, you loosen the string of need for approval and the monitor stops screeching. The beginner does this process days later. The master does it in real time, 0 latency. While being insulted, he is processing the data. This insult is trying to activate my shame string. Interesting. I'll relax my belly. He transmutes the lead into gold before it touches his bones. A final engineering warning. Everything is a mirror does not mean you should tolerate abuse. If the monitor is broken and only emits white noise, someone dangerous or psychopathic, do not stay there analyzing yourself. Unplug the monitor. Leave. Put up physical and legal limits. but leave from clarity, not from hate. Say, I have learned the lesson. Now I withdraw my energy because this equipment is not compatible with my new symphony. That is graduating. Staying to fight is repeating the grade. Chapter 4. Acoustic Impedance. If you enter any esoteric bookstore or search online for how to protect yourself from negative energy, you will find thousands of variations of the same advice. Visualize a bubble of white light. Raise a wall of mirrors. Close your aura. The underlying premise of all these techniques is perimeter defense. They are based on the medieval idea that you are a besieged castle and the outside world is an invading army. Therefore, the logical solution seems to be building higher and thicker walls. But any acoustic engineer will tell you that building a rigid wall is often the worst way to stop a powerful vibration. Why? Because rigid walls vibrate. They become a membrane. They start to resonate. They transmit the vibration to the other side into your interior. Furthermore, from the standpoint of consciousness engineering, the act of raising a wall is born from fear. By visualizing a shield, you send a message to your subconscious. I am in danger. I am vulnerable. There is something out there stronger than me. That vibration of fear is paradoxically an attraction frequency for predators. Your shield gives you away. Your defense is your doom. True protection is not based on hardness. It is based on impedance. In physics, acoustic impedance, zidadlo, is the resistance a medium offers to the passage of a sound wave. Here is the magic law. When a wave travels through a medium and meets another medium of radically different impedance, most of the energy does not penetrate, it bounces. Imagine you are in a pool submerged under the water. Your friend is on the edge shouting insults at you. What do you hear? Almost nothing, a faint, unintelligible murmur. Why? The water didn't raise a magic shield. It simply has a very different impedance, Egregors, than air. When the sound wave of the shout hits the surface of the water, physics does not allow it to pass. 99.9% of the energy bounces back. The water didn't have to try. It didn't have to fight. Simply by its own nature, it is incompatible with the aerial wave. The strategy of variable density. This is the secret of energetic invulnerability. It's not about building walls, it's about changing your medium. If the attack comes as fire, anger, and you become wood, rigid, you will burn. But if you become water, fluid, calm, the fire is extinguished upon touching you. Most people, when attacked, make the mistake of densifying. They tense up, they clench their jaw. They become solid. By becoming solid, they become conductors. Sound travels much faster and stronger through solids than through fluids. You are hurting yourself. Protection by decoupling consists of doing the opposite. When you feel the wave of negativity, your internal instruction must be de-solidify. Relax your belly. Imagine your molecules separating. Become mist. If you throw a stone at a wall, the wall breaks or the stone bounces violently. If you throw a stone at mist, the stone passes through. The mist is not damaged. The mist has won by absence of resistance. For conflict to exist, two rubbing surfaces are needed. If you eliminate your surface, your ego, your rigidity, the conflict has nothing to catch on to. This is what Taoists call Wu Wei applied to defense. Toxicity requires adhesion. Drama is sticky. If you apply acoustic impedance, you become Teflon. Visually imagine a vibrating tuning fork, a stressed person. If you submerge it in a bucket of dense honey, the vibration stops instantly. You can be that honey. You can be a damping presence. Slow down your movements. Slow down your voice. Become heavy and soft. Many empaths believe their destiny is to suffer because they absorb energy like sponges. This is an impedance failure. It means your impedance is identical to the environment. You are tuned to suffering. You must learn to de-equalize. True compassion is not going down into the pit with the other. It is throwing them a rope from above. Your protection is your difference. The more vibrationally different you are from the toxic environment, the more protected you are. If you mimic to fit in, you die. The invisibility protocol and the mist state. Rigidity is conductive and softness is insulating. Imagine you are in a meeting. Someone throws a direct verbal dart, an unfair criticism or sarcasm. In that millisecond, your reptilian brain wants to launch a counterattack. If you do, you have accepted the poison. Instead, execute the invisibility protocol. Step 1, the internal step back. You don't need to move physically but energetically. Usually our energy is pushed forward, trying to control. Make a conscious movement of withdrawal. Imagine you recline into a deep internal chair at the back of your skull. Move to your nape. From there, watch the aggressor. By pulling back those internal centimeters, you create an air chamber. The wave hits your face, but you are not there. You are behind. The wave has to cross an empty space before touching you. You become a witness of the scene, not a participant. You feel, wow, there is a body here shouting. What an interesting anthropological phenomenon. That micro-distance is the difference between pain and observation. Step 2. The mist technique. Now that you are at the back, do not block the arriving energy. Imagine your body becomes porous like a gas cloud. Visualize that the other's words are red bullets. Instead of hitting you, visualize them passing through you to infinity. You are empty space. Tell yourself, I am transparent. If a word hurts, it is because there is still something solid there. Ego. Locate that solidity and dissolve it. By letting the attack pass, the aggressor is destabilized. They need the bounce to recharge. Step 3. The defocused gaze. Eyes are the fiber optic cables of social energy. A tense, fixed gaze activates fight mode. To activate parasympathetic protection, switch to peripheral vision. While looking at the person, soften the focus. Try to see the walls of the room and the floor without moving your eyes. By expanding the visual field, you force your brain out of focused threat mode and into spatial awareness. The aggressor becomes a small pixel in a large painting. They no longer fill your screen. The goal of acoustic impedance is to become unoffendable. You are offended by what you believe is true or what you fear is true. If I say you are a pink elephant, you don't get offended because your impedance is total. There is no resonance. If you know who you are, what the outside says is just noise. A person who cannot be offended cannot be controlled. They cannot be manipulated with guilt. When the environment is dense, apply positive overpressure. You must be a positive pressure system. Instead of trying to close yourself off, do the opposite. Emit. Fill your aura with your own light. Visualize that you emanate energy outward, like a sun. External garbage cannot enter because the flow is going out. You are not a sponge, you are a hose. Acoustic defense summary. 1. Detection. 2. No wall. 3. Phase shift, relax. 4. Step back, witness. 5. Transparency, let it pass. 6. Emission, positive pressure. Chapter 5. Phase cancellation. Anyone who has traveled by plane or worked in a noisy office knows the magic of active noise cancellation, ANC headphones. You put them on, press a button, and suddenly the constant roar of the engines or the hum of the air conditioning disappears. It isn't covered by louder music, it simply ceases to exist. Silence is made. To the average user, this seems like magic. To the acoustic engineer, it is pure destructive interference. Let's understand how it works, because this mechanism is the key to deactivating toxic people in your life without having to fight them. Sound is a pressure wave with peaks and valleys. When the headphone's microphone detects an external noise, say the engine's roar, it measures its exact waveform. Immediately, the chip generates a new artificial sound wave called anti-noise. This wave is an identical copy, but with one crucial difference. It is phase inverted, shifted 180 degrees. Where the engine wave has a peak, pulse 1, the headphone generates a valley on 1. Where it has a valley on 1, the headphone generates a peak, pulse 1. When these two waves collide in your ear, the math happens. Atros 1, potos 1, hashfa $0. The sum of two powerful sounds produces silence. The energy doesn't vanish, it dissipates as imperceptible heat, but the sound information is annihilated. Now let's bring this to the boardroom or the dinner table. Most human conflicts escalate because we operate through constructive interference. Someone yells at you, anger wave. That wave is a peak of red pressure. You, by instinctive reaction and ego defense, yell back. You generate another identical anger wave in phase. Peak, pla1, plus, peak, pla1, peak, pla2. The volume of the conflict doubles, violence scales. You both feed each other until the vibration breaks the relationship. The other common option is submission, passive absorption. Someone yells, pausa 1. You shut up, shrink and swallow the aggression, 0. Some, pausa 1, plus, 0. Hratus, pausa 1. The noise is still there. No cancellation occurred. You've simply decided that your body will act as an absorbent pad. Aggressive energy enters your tissues and stays there, rotting you from within, generating cortisol, ulcers, or resentment. Neither of these two strategies is intelligent. One destroys the environment, the other destroys you. Phase cancellation is the third way. It is the path of the master. It consists of detecting the exact frequency the aggressor is throwing at you and, in real time, emitting the exact inverse frequency. You don't stay passive. You emit actively, but you emit the antidote, not the poison. What is the inverse wave of anger? Many would say love, but in practice, trying to love someone insulting you is very difficult and often feels fake or weak. The aggressor perceives forced love as condescension and gets angrier. The acoustic inverse of anger is assertive, cold calm. It is a slow, fresh, rounded frequency. Imagine your partner comes home yelling because the car broke down. They are in a phase of chaos, panic. If you say, calm down, you're always the same, judgment, anger. You are adding noise, explosion. If you shrink and say, I'm sorry, fear, you validate the chaos. If you apply phase cancellation, you detect the wave, fast chaos incoming. You generate the anti-wave, I need to emit slow order. You stay physically still, you breathe deeply. You look into their eyes without blinking fast. You say, I hear you. The car is broken, let's breathe, what's the next step? By clashing your slow order with their fast chaos, the chaos loses its structure. The person is left disoriented. Suddenly, their momentum to yell stops because it finds no return fuel. A sudden silence occurs. You have cancelled their hysteria. This is vibrational Aikido. You never oppose force with force. You oppose it with the physics of the void. Analyze the narcissist or the provocateur. These people feed on a specific frequency, emotional validation. They don't care if it's positive, admiration, or negative, hate. They only want intensity. Their wave is I control you, I provoke you. The response in phase is I hate you. The narcissist smiles. He has won his energy peak, +2. Phase cancellation for a narcissist is surgical indifference. It is the grey rock technique. He throws an insult designed to hurt. You generate the anti-wave, total boredom. You look at him like you're looking at a wall. There is no anger, no fear. There is nothing. You say, wow, that's your opinion. Are you finished? That nothing is a black hole for his wave. The narcissist enters vibrational panic. His power wave has been swallowed. He feels empty and invisible. For an inflated ego, invisibility is death. You have neutralized the threat not by fighting, but by withdrawing the very basis of the interaction. A critical safety warning. When you start using phase cancellation with someone used to you playing their game, a controlling parent or toxic boss, they won't calm down at first. They will get worse. In behavioral psychology, this is called an extinction burst. If you always reacted to their screams by screaming, and today you react with cold calm, their brain thinks, the button isn't working. I have to press harder. They will yell more. They will say more hurtful things to find your breaking point and re-establish the old resonance. If you yield and yell, you have reinforced their conduct. You've taught them. To get a reaction, I have to yell at level 10. But if you maintain your phase cancellation during the burst, if you endure the storm in active silence, suddenly the fever will break. The system will collapse. They will realize at a visceral level that their old strategy no longer works. That is where real change occurs. Either they stop attacking you because it is energetically inefficient, or they change how they relate to you. You have re-educated their nervous system through silence. The inverse volume protocol and the white mirror. The greatest obstacle to phase cancellation is yourself, your animal biology. When someone attacks you, your amygdala hijacks your brain. Your heart rate rises. Your vocal cords tense to scream. To emit calm, you must first hack your own biological robot. Tool 1. The inverse volume protocol. This is the simplest technique for heated arguments. Rule: your volume must always be inversely proportional to the aggressor's. If they go to level 8, you go to level 2. If they yell, you whisper. If they speak at 200 words per minute, you speak at 50. If you whisper, you force the aggressor to sharpen their hearing. To hear you well, they have to stop their own noise. Physically, you force them to break their engine. By lowering your voice, you assume the high status of the interaction. You place yourself vibrationally above. If you yell, their mirror neurons say, "Keep yelling." If you speak softly, their mirror neurons receive a contradictory signal. They begin to feel the urge to imitate your calm. Chief: this is a disaster. You, pausing for 3 seconds: I understand, it's urgent. The contrast cools the room. Tool 2. The white mirror, null reflection. Sometimes the attack is manipulative or passive-aggressive. Here, the inverse wave is radical objectivity. The manipulator uses words loaded with subjective emotion. You disappointed me. Your cancellation consists of returning only pure data. Aggressor: you're irresponsible, you never care, subjective charge. Normal response: that's not true. You enter their frame. White mirror response: I see you're angry because I arrived 10 minutes late. It's a fact. I arrived at 9:10 instead of 9 hours. Period. Manipulation needs ambiguity and guilt. Data is neutral. By stripping the story and leaving only the data, the manipulation wave has nothing to catch on to. They often fall silent because they cannot build their castle of victimhood on a floor of cold facts. Tool 3. The name as a switch, cognitive reset. When a person is in a loop of toxicity, they have lost their human identity and are possessed by a reactive program. To cancel that phase of possession, you need to call the human back. The most powerful sound for anyone is their own name, but not said as a scream, said with compassion and authority. In the middle of the storm, use their name like a scalpel, Maria. Say it with a falling intonation, a closing tone, not a question. Pause. That sound pierces the red fog of their brain. It breaks the trance of anger. The goal of phase cancellation is not to win the argument. If your intention is to win or shut them up to prove I'm superior, you are still operating from the ego. Your hidden frequency is arrogance, and arrogance fuels anger. The objective is environmental hygiene. Your intention must be, this distortion frequency in the room is harmful to everyone. As a guardian of my environment, I have the duty to clean this frequency and restore harmony. You do it for the good of the ecosystem, like cleaning an oil spill so no one slips, no judgment. When you operate from vibrational cleaning service, your power multiplies. It's no longer you versus them. It's you and them, their healthy part, versus the toxic pattern. Even the aggressor, deep down, is grateful someone stops their madness. Anger is exhausting. Training exercise, the traffic simulator. Don't wait for a crisis, train in traffic. Someone honks or cuts you off. You feel the anger wave, blah 1. Instead of honking back, apply cancellation. Detect, aggression received. Invert, I emit a wave of blessing calm. Action, raise your hand not with the middle finger, but with an open palm, peace gesture. Smile slightly. Say aloud, have a good day, friend. Go with God. You stay with the dopamine of sovereignty. You've cancelled the phase. You've cleaned your timeline. Chapter 6. Vibrational Vampirism. In the acoustic design of recording studios, there is a device called a bass trap. It is a structure of dense foam placed in the corners. Its function is not to reflect sound, but to eat it. It is designed to trap low frequencies and kill them, preventing them from muddying the mix. In the architecture of human relationships, there are people and places that function exactly the same way. They are biological-based traps. You enter their field with high energy, and when you leave you feel empty, heavy, or with a sudden fatigue that has no physical explanation. You have been drained. Your kinetic energy has been transferred to a low-energy system that needed it to sustain its own collapsed structure. In field engineering, vampirism is rarely conscious evil. It is thermodynamic necessity. Imagine two water tanks connected by a pipe. Tank A, U, is full and high. Tank B, the vampire, is empty and low with holes in the bottom. Physics forces the liquid to flow from A to B to equalize levels. You lose level. He gains it momentarily. But since he has holes, unresolved trauma, the energy escapes. You stay dry. To protect yourself, you must identify the suction machinery. The solar vampire, the intimidator, operates through cortisol. He steals energy by putting you on alert. He criticizes or humbles you, breaking your auric field. He feeds on your emotional explosion of fear or rage. The lunar vampire, the eternal victim, is more dangerous. He steals energy by activating your guilt. He always has a drama and rejects every solution. He creates a low-pressure vacuum, and you, being empathetic, feel an irresistible urge to fill it with your time and comfort. The distant vampire, the intellectual critic, seeks mental superiority. He punctures your balloon of enthusiasm with sarcasm. That won't work, he says. As your balloon deflates, he breathes in the escaping energy. Somatic signals, sudden doubt, mental fog, and feeling small. This is not a metaphor, it is biology. In the presence of a suction field, your nervous system detects a threat to your vital reserve. Your body enters emergency mode, cold hands, slumped posture to protect the heart, and brain fog as the prefrontal cortex shuts down to save glucose. Not only people eat, places eat too. There are buildings or offices that act as massive base traps. They are impregnated with emotional density from past pain or fights. Walls have vibrational memory. In a toxic office, the air itself is negatively ionized. Your field works double. A vampire cannot rob you without a coupling valve. To occur, you must give permission. Your need to be good, the savior, your fear of conflict, need to be liked, or your need for validation. The vampire shows you where you have leaks. The solution is sealing the crack. The closed torus and the ethics of no. The ideal human energy field is a torus, like a donut. Energy exits the crown, surrounds the body in a protective sphere, enters through the feet, and rises through the spine. It is a self-sustaining system. Drainage occurs when we break the torus to reach toward another. Instead of recycling, we throw an energy tentacle to wrap, sustain, or defend against the other person. We stop recycling and lose hydraulic fluid. To stop the drain, execute the recirculation maneuver. 1. Physically step back. 2. Look from the back of your skull. 3. Hoist the internal loop. Visualize the energy leaving your heart, but instead of going to the other person, it curves up and re-enters your own crown. Tell yourself, my energy is for me. I nourish myself. You become a dry witness. You nod, but you don't give your chi. The vampire will notice the supply cut immediately. He will feel uncomfortable and likely end the conversation to find a more permeable victim. You have protected your system without attacking. You simply close the exit valve. Now, apply the return question. The vampire throws you the hot potato of his drama. If you take it, you burn. Give the potato back. When he says, my life is a mess, ask, that sounds hard. What have you thought about doing to solve it? You return the responsibility. If he can't be a victim, he will flee. If the drain already happened, you must cut the cords. 1. Physical action. Wash your face with cold water to break the static. 2. The cutting gesture. Pass your hand like a sword in front of your solar plexus. Say aloud, I cut and release, recovering my energy now. We are raised with the idea that being good means giving until it hurts. From environmental acoustics, this is a structural error. You cannot save anyone with an empty battery. The most generous act is to keep your battery at $100%. You help by overflow, not sacrifice. Sacred selfishness is prioritizing your charge to serve better. Feeding the eternal victim only validates their identity and prevents them from hitting bottom. By closing the tap, you are a master. You are telling them, I know you can generate your own light. Visualize your energy field as an exclusive club. Inside is joy and peace. Outside is a line of people wanting to enter. You are the bouncer. You have an iron door. If you let someone in to vomit on your carpet, it is your fault. From today, finish the free passes. If someone wants your energy, they must pay the entry price, respect, fair exchange, and high vibration. If they don't bring that, the door stays closed. Chapter 7. Egregors and Atmospheres. If you have ever entered an empty Gothic cathedral, you have noticed it immediately. The air weighs differently. It is not just the temperature or the smell of incense. It is a silent acoustic pressure that forces you, almost biologically, to lower your voice and walk slowly. Now compare that to entering an emergency hospital or a house where a couple has been screaming at each other for 10 years. Even if the house is clean and tidy, you feel a grease in the air. You feel an electrical tension that closes your stomach. You want to leave. Physical architecture may be neutral, but vibrational architecture is charged. We live under the materialistic illusion that space is empty. From environmental acoustics, this is a fundamental error. Space is a conducting and storage medium. Walls are magnetic recording tapes. Every material has an absorption and resonance capacity. When you have a violent argument, you generate high-intensity sound waves and high-frequency biological electromagnetic waves, anger, vaporized cortisol. These waves hit the walls, furniture, and the ceiling. Part of that energy dissipates, but another part is absorbed by the molecular structure of the materials. Glass, wood, and especially fabrics trap the vibrational footprint. If the event is unique, the footprint fades, but if it is repetitive, a phenomenon of saturation occurs. The atomic structure of the room begins to rearrange to accommodate that dominant frequency. The room becomes a battery charged with anger or depression, and here is the danger. The battery not only stores, it discharges. Energy seeks equilibrium. If you enter that anger-charged room in a state of peace, the room has a higher charge than you. Immediately it starts dumping its charge on you to level the field. You sit on the sofa and, for no reason, feel irritable. You are receiving the transmission of the wall's memory. When an emotional frequency repeats with enough intensity in a closed space, it becomes an egregor. In our acoustic engineering, we define the egregor as a self-sustained standing wave. It is a collective thought form that acquires a life of its own. Imagine a stadium. When 80,000 people shout goal, a massive energetic entity is created. That is a temporary egregor. But in your office, the egregor is permanent because it is fed daily. If there is a culture of fear, that collective fear forms an intelligent cloud. That cloud has a survival instinct. It wants to keep existing. To exist, it needs more fear, so the egregor pressures new employees. When a happy employee enters, the office egregor attacks them with paranoia. In 2 weeks, they are just as stressed as the others. This explains why in certain families or companies, problems repeat even if you change the people. You divorce, move into a new house with a new partner, and have the same fights in the same kitchen. It's not you, it's the stage. The egregor is dictating the script. Physical form also affects flow. In acoustics, 90-degree corners are sound traps where dense energy accumulates. In a cluttered house, physical disorder acts as a wave break. The energy enters, hits a pile of dirty clothes, gets tangled in old cables, and dies. Stagnant energy begins to rot vibrationally. Living in a cluttered house is like living inside a lung with emphysema. The air does not circulate. You feel chronically tired because your energy field has to push against the density of the environment just to move. You never move into an empty house. You enter the externalized psyche of previous tenants. If there was a bankruptcy or a long illness, that frequency is in the tiles. If you don't clean that imprint, you will eat it. You'll replicate their patterns without knowing why. You must see your home as a second skin. Your biological skin protects you. Your architectural skin, your house, is your second layer of immunity. You cannot be healthy in a sick house. Churchill said, "We shape our buildings, and afterwards our buildings shape us." Your environment is not passive. It is alive and hungry for your energy to maintain its old patterns. The good news is that energy can be transmuted. You don't always need to move. You need to learn to reset the space. In the next part, we will use physics to do it. Reset protocol and the installation of the temple. If your house is a hard drive full of corrupt files, memories of fights, stress, poverty, you must format the disk. This protocol is industrial-grade cleaning. It is acoustic exorcism. The goal is to return the space to its 0 point, neutrality, to imprint your frequency. Phase 1. Sonic disruption, breaking the egregor. Stagnant energy behaves like a dense, jelly-like standing wave. To remove it, you need a strong mechanical vibration. Impact sound is more physical than sage smoke. You need to break the energy's cohesion. The clap technique. Enter a room. Go to the corners. Start clapping loud and sharp. In a clean corner, the clap is bright. Clap. In a charged corner, it sounds dull and muffled. Plop. Keep clapping until the sound becomes crisp. You are breaking the wave via percussion. The bell or bowl technique. Use a high-quality bell or Tibetan bowl. Metal cuts density better than anything. Ring it in closets, dark hallways, and bathrooms. The sound scrapes the invisible grease off the walls and smooths the environment. Phase 2. High-pressure ventilation sweeping. Once you have loosened the energy from the walls with sound, it is floating in the air. The environment will feel heavy, like dust after sweeping. You must remove it physically. Open all windows and doors. Create cross-currents. Phase 3. Physical cleaning with intention, informed water. Clean surfaces with salt, crystals that absorb, and vinegar, acid that cuts. Before starting, decree over the water. I command this water to absorb and eliminate all memory of pain and conflict from this floor. Flush the dirty water down the toilet, outside the house, conscious that you are sending that energy to be recycled by the earth. Do not pour it into the kitchen sink where you prepare your food. You are erasing the history and clearing the slate for the new signal. Phase 4. Installation of the carrier frequency, charging. Now you have an empty neutral space. You must occupy it with a new frequency, or it will fill with whatever you bring from the street. This is the step people forget. They clean, but they do not charge. Olfactory anchor. Choose a scent that means home or wealth, lavender, frankincense, orange. Smell anchors the new memory. Acoustic anchor. Play high-frequency music, classical solfeggio 432 Hz, at a very low volume for 24 hours straight. You are recording a new track on the erased tape. Creating the sanctuary. If you live with skeptical or noisy people, apply the bunker strategy. Choose one corner that is exclusively yours. Rules. No street shoes, no arguing, no phones, no news. Conserve this space for high frequency, meditation, reading, and rest. Over time, a positive egregor will form a column of light. When you are exhausted by the world, sit in your sanctuary. Like a fast-charging battery, you will recover your energy in 10 minutes. You fed it with peace. Now it feeds you when you have none. Maintenance daily hygiene. Never argue in the bedroom, protect your sleep. Do not bring the street home, take off your shoes at the door and wash your hands. If something breaks, fix it or toss it in 24 hours. Broken objects emit a signal of decay and poverty. The vibrational move. Sometimes a house won't change. It may be on toxic geopathic lines or tragedy was too great. If you feel sick and drained after 3 months of cleaning, leave. Your health is worth more than cheap rent. Power is knowing when the land is barren. Chapter 8. Selective Resonance. In neural network theory and the physics of complex systems, there is a principle of inevitable synchronization. If you connect 5 metronomes on a floating board, they will eventually move in unison. Not because they want to, but because the shared support forces them to unify their rhythm. Jim Rohn summarized this in a phrase that became a personal development cliché. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Everyone nods, but few understand the biophysical violence implied. It is not a metaphor, it is an equation of average entrainment. Your personal vibration is not fixed, it is a dynamic average. You are constantly subjected to the atmospheric pressure of your inner circle. If you try to vibrate at 400 Hz, abundance, but your 5 closest people vibrate at 60 Hz, resignation, or 50 Hz, complaint, the math is cruel. Your system cannot sustain 400 Hz alone. The combined gravity of the other 5 oscillators will exert a brutal downward pull. To maintain your high frequency while surrounded by low frequencies, you would need to spend an astronomical amount of vital energy. You would be in forced emission mode. Thermodynamics tells us no system can spend more energy than it generates indefinitely. Eventually, you will tire and fall. Your frequency will adjust to the group average, say 75 Hz. You'll wonder why, despite all your books and meditations, you feel stuck. Your motor isn't broken. You are simply trying to drive a Ferrari with the handbrake on, while towing a trailer with 5 elephants. The biggest obstacle is loyalty to the clan. 50,000 years ago, being expelled from the tribe meant death. Thus, our reptilian brain interprets social separation as a vital threat. When you raise your frequency, you automatically enter dissonance with your clan. You sound in C major while they remain in B minor. The joint sound screeches, then the sabotage begins. They won't say they feel inferior. They'll say, "You've changed. You've forgotten your roots." These are acoustic hooks designed to lower your tone. If you yield to this pressure out of love, you are committing vibrational suicide. You are sacrificing your unique note on the altar of belonging. Many relationships are based on fossil resonance, what you shared 20 years ago. Selective resonance demands that you audit relationships in the present tense. The question isn't, how much did we love each other 10 years ago? It is, what music are we creating together today? If today's music is heavy boredom or veiled criticism, the relationship is vibrationally dead. Holding on to dead relationships occupies bandwidth. Your brain continues to process that person and anticipate their judgments. This occupied space prevents new people from entering. You cannot find your high-frequency tribe if your table is full of ghosts from the past. Avoid the "I can save them" fallacy. There is a difference between being a lighthouse and a battery. A lighthouse stands still on its rock and emits light. If you jump into the mud to pull your friends out, physics says they will drag you down. Gravity always wins without support. By trying to save them, you violate their sovereignty. Perhaps they need to experience density to learn their own lessons. The best way to help someone rise is not by pushing from below, but by climbing so high that your example proves it is possible to fly. Be the living proof. A gardener doesn't prune the rosebush because he hates the branches, but because he loves the rose. He knows the plant has finite sap. If he leaves dead branches, the sap disperses. The plant survives, but does not bloom. You are the rosebush. Your attention is the sap. You have the right and biological obligation to prune your social environment. It is not cruelty, it is vital efficiency. A life scattered in empty social commitments is a life without flowers. Loyalty to the past is often a betrayal of your future. You cannot fly with lead weights. The exit protocol and the fertile void. Social pruning is done with precision scissors, not a chainsaw. The goal is to withdraw from dissonance, causing the minimum karmic damage. There are 2 main exit protocols depending on the bond. Protocol 1, the fade out, gradual fading. This is for non-abusive, stagnant relationships. You don't need a dramatic breakup talk. Simply withdraw the energy. Stop initiating conversations or proposing plans. When invited, decline kindly without detailed excuses. Take longer to reply. By reducing your energy flow, the relationship withers naturally due to lack of irrigation. The other person, noticing the lack of resonance, will eventually seek someone who matches their frequency. It is an organic, soft exit without trauma. It is letting leaves fall in autumn. Protocol 2, the scalpel cut, explicit breakup. This is for active vampires or manipulators. Here clarity is kindness. You must have the conversation, but make it about vibrational necessity, not their faults. I need a space our current relationship cannot give me. Constate the impedance incompatibility. Once cut, Maintain zero contact. A clean cut allows the wound to heal. Next comes the phantom limb syndrome. The day after pruning a toxic friend, you won't feel happy. You'll feel terrible. You'll feel a void and doubt. Was I wrong? This is simply neural adaptation. Your brain was wired to process that person. You must endure the itch without scratching. After the pruning comes the great void. Your phone stops ringing. You have no plans on Saturday. Most people panic here and fill the void with cheap filler, Tinder exes. If you do that, you fill your garden with weeds again. You must learn to habit the void. It is not loneliness. It is sanitization. The universe is disinfecting your field. In this quarantine zone, your frequency begins to stabilize. Without external interference, your note begins to rise. You start to vibrate in your pure note. Only when that note is strong will the new bell begin to ring. One day, while doing what you love, you will meet someone new. The interaction will be easy. No friction, no power games. You have found a member of your resonance family. They never could have entered if you hadn't made space first. Two objects cannot occupy the same space. Slowly, your new 5 oscillators will appear. People who inspire you, who are smarter or happier than you. Their gravity will help you fly. You'll realize the conversation has changed from blame to projects. You will no longer end dinners exhausted, but ignited. Evolution is, by definition, leaving behind what no longer serves. The snake does not cry over the skin it sheds. It knows the old skin prevents growth. You are shedding your skin. Honor the past chapter and those in it, but turn the page. You have the right to meet the new characters. Chapter 9. The Silence of Presence. We live in a culture obsessed with the script. We spend millions on public speaking and persuasion techniques. We believe communication is a verbal data transfer. But any telecom engineer will tell you that the bandwidth of the human voice is ridiculously narrow. Words only transmit a few bits of logical data per second. Yet when you meet someone, in the first 0.3 seconds, your brain has already processed gigabytes of info. You know if they are safe, fearful, or lying. This info arrives via broadband, the silence of presence. You are a walking radio station. Your body doesn't end at your skin. That's just the limit of your hardware. Your hardware emits an electromagnetic field, your torus extending 1 to 3 meters out. This field is your Wi-Fi, transmitting your biological truth 24 hours a day. It broadcasts your cortisol levels, fear, testosterone, power, and heart coherence, peace. This creates the law of pre-arrival. Your signal always arrives before your body. Before you enter a room, your vibrational shockwave has already crossed the threshold. If you vibrate in need or fear, people feel an instinctive repulsion. They close off before you say hello. Your words bounce off an invisible wall you built with your silent emission. If you vibrate in sovereignty, the door is already open when you speak. Most communication conflicts are not semantic. They are field dissonances. You say I love you, but your field screams don't leave me, terror. The receiver hears the terror, not the love. The Wi-Fi never lies. Humans are biological lie detectors. We read vibrations. Most people transmit white noise. They are thinking about groceries while worrying about their looks and judging others. Their field is a chaos of frequencies. To others, this feels like a low-resolution experience. They are filtered out as background noise and forgotten. The acoustic master transmits in high definition, 4K. Their silence is dense and heavy. When they are quiet, their presence is felt more strongly than when they speak. This is achieved through signal unification, bringing the entire being into the radical now. This increases wave amplitude. As we saw in Chapter 2, the wave with the greatest amplitude dominates. The silence of presence is a way of shouting without a voice, I am here and I am real. It is the ultimate form of communicative power. Next time there is an awkward silence in a group, don't rush to fill it with weather talk. Use the silence as a canvas. Stay quiet, look others in the eye with calm, and fill the silence with intention. Project a wave of peace. The group will calm down magically. Animals are the best monitors of your broadband. A dog knows if you are afraid, regardless of your sweet words. Confidence is a biological response to a coherent signal. The silent leader generates trust because there are no hidden peaks of fear in his transmission. His silence says, "I don't need to sell you anything, I am complete." This absence of commerce makes people want to give you everything. In the second part, we will learn how to increase transmission power and move from being invisible to being magnetic. The saturation protocol and magnetic indifference. In fluid physics and electromagnetism, there are two dynamics: suction, vacuum, and radiation, pressure. Most human interactions are based on suction. You go to a date or interview needing something. Energetically, you become a vacuum cleaner, sucking for approval. The other person feels they are being robbed. Their instinct is protection. They move away and say no. They won't know why they dislike you, just that there was no chemistry. Need is the greatest repellent in the universe. The master's dynamic is saturation. The master enters the room full. His cup overflows. He doesn't need the job to feel valuable, he already is. He is not a vacuum, he is a sun. He radiates positive pressure. People feel warmth and abundance near him. They want to be close to the source. This leads to magnetic indifference. Not the coldness of "I don't care," but the detachment of "I don't need you." It's the attitude of "I'd love to play with you, but if you don't want to, I'll still have fun alone." When you stop demanding from the world, it runs to your arms. The room-filling protocol. Technique. You must charge the field before an event. 1. Internal pumping. Take 10 deep breaths, compressing golden light into your solar plexus. 2. Torus expansion. Imagine that light forming a sphere around you. Push it to 5 meters wide. The room doesn't contain you. You contain the room. 3. Intention impregnation. Give your sphere a flavor, calm, or authority. 4. Threshold crossing. Open the door and keep your field expanded. Feel your bubble touch people before your hand does. They will feel the pressure. Animals mark territory with urine. Conscious humans mark it with waves. When you sit, occupy the space around you. Extend your consciousness to the corners of the room. The widest oscillator defines reality. A word from a contracted field is a plea. From an expanded field, a decree. In business, silence is the ultimate power tool. He who cannot stand the silence yields. When you make a proposal, be silent. Let the tension work for you. The other person will feel the pressure of your field and reveal hidden info or concede to your request. Standing the silence requires knowing that your existence is enough argument. In love, stop trying to convince someone you are a good option. Simply be a good option and be quiet. Let them bathe in your radiation of health and purpose. People fall in love with your atmosphere. If your atmosphere is an eternal summer of warmth and abundance, no one will want to leave for the cold winter of loneliness. You become the home everyone wants to return to. Chapter 10, The Orchestra Conductor. You have come a long way. You began as an unconscious tuning fork, vibrating with every fear thrown at you. You learned to damp your strings, entrain others with stability, and cancel toxic noise. Now we reach the summit. You stop being an instrument to become the orchestra conductor. The difference is ontological. The instrument is inside the music. It must strive to play its notes. The conductor, paradoxically, produces no sound. He stands on the podium in absolute silence. With a simple movement of his baton, he controls reality. He decides the volume and the speed, tempo. He is the cause. The orchestra is the effect. Most humans live and die as out-of-tune instruments in an anarchic orchestra. Mastery consists of stepping off the stage, climbing the podium, and assuming vibrational command. The conductor's most powerful tool is tempo. In any interaction, whoever controls time controls the result. The modern world is designed to accelerate you with artificial urgency. If you run because the world tells you to, you have been entrained by collective hysteria. The conductor operates from deliberate slowness. When chaos accelerates, the conductor slows down. Observe great leaders in a crisis. They walk and speak slowly. This isn't laziness. It is a demonstration of physical power. It says, "The crisis will adjust to my rhythm." Mastery exercise, the emergency brake. Next time you feel rushed, stop physically. Breathe 3 times very slowly. Recover your internal tempo. Only move when you feel like the master of time again. You will find that when you slow down, the outside world slows down too. The instrument reacts. If insulted, it takes offense. The conductor responds. Between stimulus and response, he inserts a space. In that microsecond of void, the conductor decides, this note serves my symphony, I will play it. Or, this stimulus is useless, I will ignore it. This capacity for non-reaction fascinates others. When you don't play the emotional ping-pong game, you step off the board. You become the quantum observer who collapses the wave function he chooses, not the one imposed upon him by the environment. There is a confusion about humility. To a conductor, making yourself small is professional negligence. If he hides his baton, the concert is a disaster. The conductor has an obligation to be visible and clear. You must occupy your place on the podium. Stopping your shine so others aren't uncomfortable with their darkness is not humility. It is cowardice. The sun doesn't apologize for giving heat. It is its nature to radiate. The conductor accepts that his high vibration will transform or bother the environment. Mastery is creating the situation. You don't have a good day, you make the day. Imagine you wear an invisible diving suit. Inside, the climate is peace. Outside, there may be a storm, but you open the valve and let your peace flow out. You colonize the space. You are no longer a victim or a survivor. You are the creator of the atmosphere. But what is the final purpose? It is to leave a trail. In the second part, we will talk about the acoustic legacy and the resonance footprint you leave behind in the field. The resonance footprint and the final symphony. Every physical object leaves a shadow. Every vibrational being leaves an echo. Physics teaches that energy is never destroyed. Every thought or word you have emitted keeps sounding in the quantum field, creating butterfly effects that you will never see. The question defining your life is not, how much money did I make? But, how does the world sound after I have passed through it? Have I left an echo of noise and fear, or one of harmony and clarity? This is your resonance footprint. It is all you will leave. Examine your conscience. Think of the last time you left a meeting. When you closed the door, how was the air in that room? Was it lighter, or was it heavy with the complaints you poured there? The master is obsessed with the quality of his vibrational residue. He ensures that wherever he goes, he leaves the place cleaner than he found it. If you enter an elevator with tension, emit a silent wave of peace. When you exit, the tension is dissipated. You have acted as a human air filter, purifying the atmosphere. In a noisy world, becoming a safe harbor is the greatest gift. People are exhausted from wearing masks. When you vibrate in non-judgment, people feel they can lower their guard. Your mastery is creating a space of zero impedance where authenticity can bloom. The final integration is forgetting the technique and being the music. There will come a day when you don't apply phase cancellation. You will do it automatically. You will become a walking wave. Your mere presence will order the chaos in your path. Violence will deactivate before you. Opportunity will find you. This is not magic, it is high coherence physics. We are not bodies that have vibrations, we are vibrations that have taken body to play a symphony in matter. The last instruction, maintain the note. The world will try to tune you out. Entropy exists to test your structure. There will be days when you fall or are drained by a vampire. Do not judge yourself. The conductor sometimes loses the beat. What distinguishes the master is that he recovers the tempo immediately. He realizes the error, breathes, lifts the baton again and says, from the top, 1, 2, 3. And the music returns. You have the power to mold reality in your ears and hands. You don't need money or politics. You only need your attention and intention. Conclusion. The dust jacket of reality and the final silence. The recording is about to end. You can no longer afford the luxury of innocence. Before this book, you could walk through chaos feeling like a victim. You could say, traffic stresses me, or my boss embitters me. You could live as a cork floating in a stormy sea. That time is over. You have bitten the apple of acoustic physics. Now you know you are not a cork, you are the wave generator. You have discovered the wonderful truth of sympathetic resonance. The world is mute until you give it a voice. You have stopped fighting the mirror. The death of the victim and the birth of the engineer. The price of environmental mastery is the death of the complaint. From today, you lose the right to complain about your surroundings. If your house feels heavy, you know how to clean it. If friends drain you, you know how to apply social pruning. Fate is no longer the master. You are now in a position of radical responsibility. You are the engineer of your reality. An engineer doesn't cry when the bridge falls. He checks the calculations and rebuilds. Conflict is now data. Difficult people are return monitors. Life is a frequency laboratory. The solitude of the tuner. In the beginning, you may feel alone. This is the inevitable side effect of the resonance pruning. As you vibrate in a cleaner note, you will stop fitting into the dissonant chords of your old group. Do not fear this void. The piano tuner always works in silence before the concert. You are recalibrating your instrument to play music your lineage has never heard. You are the breaking point of the transmission of trauma. The echo of fear stopped at you because it met infinite impedance. You said, "The music starts here." That is your legacy. The mission, nodes of order. The purpose of environmental acoustics is not just to live peacefully in a bunker. It is to become a node of order. The world is in a phase of accelerated entropy and noise. Humanity desperately needs master-tuning forkspeople who do not add noise to the existing noise. Your social function is to be a frequency anchor. In the office or at dinner, your job is to hold the note, vibrate in certainty and calm so intensely that the environment is forced to reorganize. You will be the hidden thermostat of society. No one will give you medals, but you will see discussions fade when you arrive. You will see solutions appear where there were only problems. Your field is doing the work. This is the highest charity, donating your coherence to the chaos and stabilizing the world. The art of effortless living. With time, you will forget the techniques. Impedance and phase will dissolve into your nature. You will reach the state of vibrational wu-wei. You won't have to protect yourself because you will be transparent. You won't have to search because your saturation will attract. You will live in a fluid dialogue where you and the universe are the same wave. You will finally understand that there is no inside and outside. The environment is you extended. Caring for your garden is caring for your soul, and caring for your soul is caring for the world. The last instruction. The book ends, but the practice is eternal. Tomorrow morning, before checking your phone, remember who you are. You are the orchestra conductor. The day ahead is a blank score. The instruments, money, people, traffic, are waiting for your signal to begin. If you don't lift the baton, they will play out of tune. If you lift it with fear, they play a funeral march. But if you lift it with sovereign authority, the entire universe will tighten to obey you. Matter loves the master. Matter desires to be ordered. Do not underestimate your power. One tuned person is more powerful than 1,000 out of tune. One candle conquers a room of darkness. Be that candle. Be that sound. Be that presence.